Assalamualaikum, greetings and peace be upon you. Welcome again to Bapahebat podcast series brought to you by Bapahebat SG. Our team for this podcast series is Ayahku. This program is sponsored by Center for Leadership Forum and supported by Yayasan Mendaki. What we do is we invite guests from all walks of life, public figures, celebrities, to come to our show and talk about their dad mostly, how their father influenced their lives, and what shaped them to who they become today. Today we have a very special guest. She's a social worker and community leader in Singapore, but most importantly, she is best known for co-founding Project Hills. We'll learn more about Project Hills from her in a short while. My esteemed guest today is Miss Zulayqah Zulkifli. Welcome to the show, Miss Zulayqah.
Hello, thank you.
Is that shorter name for me to call you?
Yeah, you can call me Zul.
Zul?
Yeah,
Zul
I know
or
it's a
Zul?
bit man, but
Zul.
you can call me Zul.
Okay,
yes.
Zul. Thank you for taking the time and coming to the show to share about your stories. Now, what can you tell us? First, tell us about yourself, and then maybe go into some details about Project Hills.
Okay, so I'm Zulayqah, 31 years old this year. Single, not married. I'm single by choice. Yes, as you rightly pointed out, I'm a social worker by profession, and I co-founded Project Hills together with my brother. Yeah, who's not present here today, but he's here with me in spirit. Yeah.
Okay. What about your educational background?
I started my social work career as early as when I enrolled to ITE. So I did my NITEC in community care and social services. So that was when I realized that I really wanted to do social work. So I mapped out my career pathways together with my teachers. Then I did my 2 years NITEC, graduated, and went to Poly. I went to Nanyang Poly to do my diploma in social work. After that, I actually did my part-time bachelor in SUSS. Yeah.
And you graduated with a bachelor in
Social
studies.
sciences. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Before we go to Project Hills, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies. This is a tough question. I have a lot, I think.
Okay.
Okay, beyond volunteering, I like cooking. I like to cook. I cook all sorts of dishes for people. Sometimes I overfeed the people around me.
Okay.
Are
you a good cook?
I like to think that I am a good cook.
Okay. Nobody complained before, right?
So far, nobody complained, no food poisoning.
Okay, that's
Alhamdulillah.
good.
So
Alhamdulillah.
I would think, okay lah, since they have no comms, they eat well, then yeah, I guess okay lah. Aside from cooking, I love planting. I love plants. I love spending time with my family. I also like, occasionally I read when I can. I like to pick up new things, learn. I believe in the idea of lifelong learning. So I make a constant effort to learn, be it religiously or non-religious knowledge. Yeah. Can.
Okay. Before we go on to talk about other things besides yourself, one last thing about yourself is what are your likes and your dislikes?
For my likes and dislikes. That's tough. I've never really thought about it. But
These are not the tough questions. The tough questions are coming.
it's tough because I always think about very big.
What makes you happy and what makes you unhappy?
What makes me happy?
Yeah.
What makes me happy? Good question. When I'm at home with my family, that makes me happy.
Right.
What makes me unhappy? Late coming behaviors. I really hate late coming behaviors.
Okay.
Yeah. And poor communication.
Poor communication.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
well done. All right. Now, perhaps you would like to share some things about Project Hills. How did you come about to co-founding it, and With your brother, right?
Yeah.
Want to mention his name?
Zulhakim. my
Zulhakim.
brother.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can call him Zul also, yeah?
Yeah, but usually when we're together, he goes by Hakim.
Okay. So that you co-founded with your brother Zul Hakim, how you came about, doing this kind of project, and what made you persevere in seeing this through?
Okay, so when we first started Project Hills, maybe just for some context also as well, me and my siblings, we live in the rental estates ourselves. So during the COVID period, that kind of like make our project more official. So what happened was we were all working from home, right? So we were cooped up in our little spaces, and we saw how our fellow neighbors also had to also go through the same struggles as we do. And what made matter worse was, for me, as a social service practitioner myself, I saw how I wasn't deemed as a frontline worker at that point of time. And it was quite interesting that we are not deemed as one, because later we saw how all these social issues start to resurface and all that, right? So I told myself, and of course I also had conversations with my siblings, like, how can social workers not be deemed as frontline workers? This would also mean my fellow other social workers would crash out the minute we all return back to the workforce, and when COVID ceased lah.
Yeah.
So fair enough, there were a lot of things that these people in the community were struggling with. When the government announced DORSCON Orange, we saw how there were a lot of panic purchases, etc., right? And a lot of these, to a certain extent, instill some form of anxiety to these families. So, like it or not, because we are neighbors, we saw how they too panicked and grew anxious. Like, hey, Zul, like most of them were running to my unit, because my father is actually quite a known figure in the community. Like, he hangs out a lot at the coffee shop.
The unofficial penghulu.
The unofficial penghulu, correct. Because he does that on daily basis, like even way before COVID. So all these people who are hanging out at the coffee shop and like processing, exchanging information, formally, informally, had to move to home and then had to sit and process all these information on their own. Right. So I can only imagine how daunting it could be for them, especially people who may not be highly educated, or maybe couldn't also grapple with the whole idea of what is this whole COVID all about, what is this circuit breaker, right? So I realized there's a lot of psycho-education that is required. So of course, me being a social worker, I spoke to my siblings, who I said like, hey, since there is you three, right, plus me, I feel that maybe we could do something. And I think after bouncing off ideas, my brother Zulhakim said, yeah, I think we should. We are also very mindful that we can't move within the parameters that was laid out for us, right? But for us, it was a little bit easier for us to execute whatever that we needed to, because we're embedded in the community. So we weren't coming from another place. We didn't breach the whole idea of no contact and all that, because we are literally neighbors.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes it easier for us to do the work that we do. Yeah, so that's when we initially started with only like 20 ration bags. And then subsequently, we were quite surprised that with the power of social media, many people were open to actually donate funds to us. Many were actually open to also support the idea that we are actually trying to advocate for. And from 20, we moved to 200 bags, and then we moved to 300 bags. So that's how Project Hill started. It started with our own little family effort through the closest of our friends. Neighbors, and subsequently, we have a whole group of volunteers.
Wow,
yeah.
Wonderful. Your brother Zul Hakim, what was he doing then? And is he older than you or younger than you?
Zul Hakim is actually older than me. He's only 2 years older than me. At a point of time, he was actually pursuing his studies in UK.
Oh. Okay.
He was in Oxford at the point of time pursuing his master's, but he had to be called back as well because of the COVID period, right? There was advisory that students return back until the situation are relatively more stable.
Okay.
So in a way, he too had to do his own home-based learning with the odd time differences and all that. So of course, when we are working, there's nothing that he does. So he thought, okay, what other meaningful way to occupy my time aside from sleeping, right? So I think we kind of delegate our roles among ourselves. I mean, my younger brother was working in the F&B. So F&B was also closed during that period. So I had a lot of these hands around me, and they're like, what do we do? So I said, okay, since for me, even though I was working at the point of time, I still had my work from home tasks.
Right.
So I was occupied during the daytime, but they didn't have anything. So I said, okay, you take the time to do all this admin stuff, collation. So they establish a social media, they create that social media presence and all that, and do what we can to see how we can make things work. Yeah.
So your Zul Hakim has graduated, I suppose, by
He has
now,
graduated.
right?
Yeah, he's
So
now
you-
in the workforce.
So you have an Oxford graduate
Yeah.
family member in a family.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, anyway, that is a very, very noble startup, I would say. That was in 2020, was it? Or
Yes, 2020. Yeah, we started around late 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you started from 2020, so it has been like almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
The Project Hills has been running.
Yes.
And it's still running, right?
It's still running.
And it's running even
yeah,
bigger and,
And
more
we're going
forceful, yeah?
Yes, correct. And we're going globally now. We also have our parent company in Indonesia. For those who actually follow us would see occasionally, our parent company is actually in Kalimantan, Indonesia, that we have actually identified. So we work closely with the agriculture community there. Yeah.
What was your first global endeavor or help that you rendered to which country and for what particular calamity?
My first, in relevance
Outside
to Project
Singapore.
Hills or?
No, Project Hills outside
Project Hills
Singapore.
outside Singapore.
The
It's
first
Indonesia.
Indonesia, and
Yes.
that was what for earthquake
No.
relief or something.
For similar, so we actually execute similar efforts, except that we also try our best to see how we could weave in the concept of Project Hills, but at their community effort.
I see.
Because I think we need to also take into consideration that the community needs might be different, right?
Right.
So for them, we have this Project Egg, because in Indonesia
Egg
they
as
have
in
egg as in telur.
EGG.
EGG.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so they have farms, right?
Yeah.
So we try to also overcome the whole idea of hunger
Right.
within the community and all that. So for every community who goes to shop for the egg, one egg will be given to another underprivileged family.
Yeah.
So the reason why we actually pick egg, so we were told, and I think we were also doing our readings, we realized that consuming one egg a day is as good as eating one meal per day. So we thought that that would deal with the malnourishment and all that in the community.
Oh, okay.
So there was a lot of thought process to it, and we worked closely with the local community there to see how best to also tackle this hunger issue in that community.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very honored to have you today here. Ladies and gentlemen, we had just interviewed Ms. Zulayqah Zulkifli, a social worker and the co-founder of Project Hills, where she shared stories, anecdotes about her childhood, family, particularly her dad, who became a single parent when she was 16 years old. Now, with that, thank you for watching this Bapahebat podcast production brought to you by Bapahebat SG, supported by Center for Leadership Forum and supported by Yayasan Mendaki. Till we meet again next time, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Thank you.